Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about why everyone is leaving Augusta, Georgia, and specifically why I left Augusta, Georgia. Now, if y'all have been watching my other videos, you know that I've lived in the Augusta area for 20 years. I did live in Augusta for several years, and so I'm going to tell you why I personally left, and then we're going to talk about some other reasons why people leave Augusta so that you can kind of see some of the cons of living in Augusta, and you're probably going to be pretty surprised by the last one. So stay tuned, we're going to get into it right now. The first reason why people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is because they want more space. They have decided that living in the city is just not for them, and they want to get out in the country. So they're moving out to Grovetown, they're moving out to Harlem, where they've got some land and they can have their chickens and they can have goats or whatever it is that they want. I personally moved out of Augusta for this reason, because at the time we wanted some more space. There was a newer neighborhood developing back in the day that had walking trails, and it had a lot of land, mature trees, and they kept a lot of green space. There were ponds on the property in the neighborhood that we could walk through and just really enjoy nature. And so that was one of the reasons why we moved out of Augusta, and actually into Grovetown is where we moved that first time. So that is why some people are moving out of Augusta. They just are tired of everything being very somewhat close together. I mean, there are some areas of Augusta that are further apart, but anyway, so that's one of the reasons. The second reason that people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is because they're in the military and they got stationed somewhere else. So it was kind of not their fault that they had to leave. But if they're in town and they're staying in town, then it could be that they want to get closer to Fort Gordon / Fort Eisenhower. It's Fort Eisenhower. I slip and say Fort Gordon. That's what it was formerly called before they renamed it this year. So anyway, Fort Eisenhower. If you work for the Department of Defense or are just military, then being on the base is a pretty large base, and so there are a couple of gates, and depending on where on Fort Eisenhower you work might determine where you want to be. So sometimes Augusta is pretty close to one of the gates, and that might be the most beneficial to you. And there's another gate that just opened up in Harlem, and so if you want more of a country living, but you still want to be close to Fort Eisenhower, if you work on that side, then Harlem might be a great option for you. And that would be why you wouldn't want to live in Augusta, just for proximity to work. Reason number 3 why people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is for lower taxes. So here, if you hop across the Savannah River, you're in South Carolina. And over in South Carolina, the taxes are lower than they are here in Georgia. So that is another reason why some people choose to leave the Augusta area and pop over to South Carolina so they can have lower taxes. Now, when I lived in Augusta, before I popped over to North Augusta, my reason was definitely not taxes, because I just, was in my 20s and I didn't care anything about taxes, even though I probably should have. I just moved over to North Augusta because I really liked it. I had a roommate that wanted to move over there with me. We rented a little house over there, and we just enjoyed how close it was to downtown Augusta, so we could enjoy downtown Augusta without actually having to live in downtown Augusta. So that was my personal reason at that time. That was before I married my husband. So anyway, that's another reason why people might pop over to North Augusta, South Carolina, because you have the proximity to downtown without actually living in downtown Augusta. The fourth reason that people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is because Evans, which is about 20 minutes to 30 minutes from downtown Augusta, Georgia, Evans has opened their own little downtown area that is very convenient. There's a performing arts center in the downtown Evans area. There is Evans Town Park, which has a huge park, a huge outdoor amphitheater where they have concerts outdoors. They turn a section of the park into an ice skating rink in the wintertime. And by winter, I mean it gets a little bit chilly, but it's not like we have snow, so they have to create it. But that's still a pretty cool little thing. They do a lot of outdoor markets in the spring, summer, and fall. They have a farmer's market at the downtown Evans area, which is pretty neat. There is also several little strip mall areas that have local coffee shops. They have some local restaurants. You're not very far from a Kroger grocery store. So it's all very accessible right there. They're also they've just finished building luxury apartments right in the middle of downtown Evans. So if you want to live right there downtown, you can. But the other bonus of it is that there are several older neighborhoods that are in very close proximity to the downtown Evans area. So if you want to be near downtown, but you don't want new construction and you don't want to be right in the middle of downtown, you can look at some of the homes that are older brick homes built in the 90s. Some of the neighborhoods were built in the 80s, some of them were built in the 2000s, and you have space in between your neighbors. Your lots are, half an acre. Some of them you can get acreage lots in some of the neighborhoods over in near downtown Evans. So that is another reason why some people are moving out of the Augusta area. They're leaving Augusta and they're coming into the Evans downtown area just because it's new and people like new. They want to experience what that's going to be like. So there is another reason why people are leaving Augusta, Georgia. The fifth reason that people are leaving the Augusta, Georgia area is crime. Now, the Columbia County Sheriff came and spoke to our group of realtors at our local board office, and he was telling us that Columbia County rated as the third safest county in all of Georgia out of 157 counties. Richmond County, which is where Augusta is, did not rate in the top. And so that is another reason why people are leaving the Augusta area and they're coming over into Columbia County, which is still the Augusta area. It's just not in Richmond County, Augusta. Now, I grew up overseas. I'm a third culture kid. And every country that I lived in, we never left our doors unlocked. We never left the car unlocked. And so even though I'm saying that Columbia County is the third safest county in all of Georgia, according to the sheriff, I am not saying that you should leave your doors unlocked, and I am definitely not saying you should leave your car doors unlocked. Of course, there's still theft that happens everywhere, and I encourage you to use the app called crimespot.com. Well, I don't know that it's .com, sorry, scratch that. It's an app, so it's Spot Crime, and in that app you can punch in any address anywhere in the United States and it will pop up like all kinds of whatever. If there's theft, if there's vandalism, any kind of stuff like that, any kind of crime, it will show you what is around that address. So it's very helpful. I highly encourage you to use that. If you go out looking at houses with me, I'm not allowed to say this is a safe area, this is not a safe area. It's all relative. And so if you're coming from a crime-ridden area like the downtown Chicago area or something where murder is a normal thing, then crime here will probably seem pretty normal and not like a lot. But if you're coming from a little country town where you are used to leaving your doors unlocked at night and you never lock your car door, and you've never had anyone steal anything from you or break into your home, then this might seem like a really scary, crimey kind of area. So anyway, just do your own due diligence no matter where you're moving, even if you're not moving to the Augusta area, anywhere you're moving in the States. Just look at the crime statistics if that's something that you're concerned about so that you know that you're comfortable with the level of crime that's happening in that area. The number 6 reason that people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is the school systems. If you want to go to greatschools.org, it's a great resource to look up the ratings of any school that you want to look up. And a lot of people are not happy with some of the schools in the Augusta area. Now, I'm not saying that schools outside of the Augusta area are amazing, but they certainly can be rated higher than some of the school systems in the Richmond County school system. Now, there are several that rate really high in Richmond County, so you just need to use your tools, your resources, look up the schools, and make sure that you're happy with where that school is rated. We personally moved over into Columbia County when we decided to start having children, and some of it had to do with school systems, just because I wasn't sure about the schools. I didn't grow up here. I didn't go to school, the public school system here. I grew up in Maryland. Well, I went to high school in Maryland. I grew up overseas in private schools, so education for me was a little bit different. My 9th grade year in Maryland was a repeat of everything that I had done in 8th grade, except for U.S. history. So, in comparison, the Maryland schools were not as good as the schools that I was used to, but Maryland schools, for the most part, where we were in Maryland, were highly rated schools back at that time. I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, because I don't want y'all knowing. But anyway, so my husband did go to public school here in Georgia, and he, never had any issue with them, but his parents wanted us to send our children to private school here. And so our kids go to a private school that is very similar to some of the private schools that I grew up in overseas. They teach diversity, and I really, really appreciate that. I love having them grow up around kids from all different cultures, because that's how I grew up. And I just think it's really important to expose them to that if you can. However, I am not opposed to public schools. If we decided that we wanted to pull them out of private and put them into public, then, that would be fine too. And I would just have to do what you guys are doing and pull up all of the schools on greatschools.org just to make sure that they were getting a 4 or 5 star school. So now you have the tools that you can use to look up the same things. The number 7 reason people are leaving Augusta, Georgia is they figured out that we have the 3rd largest man-made lake in Lincolnton, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from Augusta, and they want to live on the lake. So they're moving out to either McCormick, which is near, anyway, in Lincolnton. They're going out to Lincolnton, or they're going out to McCormick, South Carolina, because you can get to the man-made lake either on the South Carolina side, over in Modoc Shores, or you can go over on the Georgia side, which is like Lincolnton and out that way, which is kind of, if you're on Washington Road, you drive through Evans, you go into Appling, you go out to Deering, you just keep going straight, keep going straight, keep going straight, and then you cross over part of the lake and you're in Lincolnton, and there's lake living out there. And so if lake living is your thing, we've got you covered. If you want to be a little bit further out from the Augusta area. So that's another reason people are leaving Augusta, Georgia. Reason number 8. And before I get into reason number 8, I just realized that I've had like this little piece of junk stuck in my hair pretty much this whole time we've had video going. So thanks guys for letting me know I had some junk in my hair, but I took care of it, so it's cool now. Now, back to the reason. So reason number 8 that people are leaving the Augusta, Georgia, leaving Augusta, Georgia, is that they want to be a little bit closer to Atlanta, so they don't have quite a commute. And so a lot of people are moving over into Martinez or Evans near the I-20 Bel Air Road exit, because from that exit to Atlanta, to the Atlanta airport, is 2 hours. And if you do a lot of traveling for work, that may be beneficial to you to shave off a little bit of time of traveling if you are going to be heading to the Atlanta airport a lot. Now, of course, we do have an airport here in Augusta. It's a regional airport, and so we do have Delta flights going out of the airport, and we also have American Airlines flights going out of there. But it just kind of depends on where you need a direct flight to. A lot of them are routing through Atlanta anyway. Though it is really a lot easier to get through the security because it is a smaller airport, and so you don't have a ton of people to get through security like you do in Atlanta. Atlanta can absolutely be crazy, and I will highly recommend that you either do the Clear program so that you can get through the lines faster, or do the Global Entry, which has the TSA pre-check. Those lines tend to be shorter than the regular lines, and I say every bit helps if you're doing a lot of traveling. It's 100% worth the cost of doing that. Now, if you're flying out of Augusta all the time, there really isn't a difference. I mean, your line is not going to be huge and long, so the regular one is just fine to fly in and out of. The only problem with the Augusta airport is sometimes those flights get canceled if they don't have enough people on them, and that really sucks. It especially sucks when you're really tired because you have been traveling from overseas and you get to the airport that is going to fly you directly to Augusta, and then your flight gets delayed, and then your flight gets delayed again, and then they cancel your flight, or you end up flying in at midnight. Both of those really suck. So just be aware that that could happen to you. The other place that I do like to fly out of, other than the Atlanta airport, is the Charlotte airport. It's actually a really pleasant drive from Augusta over into the Charlotte airport. It's also about 2 hours, so it's not really a huge time difference. And that would be one reason that someone may also want to leave Augusta, Georgia, is to go over into North Augusta or over into Aiken, South Carolina, because getting to that Charlotte airport is going to be a lot faster if you're already over in South Carolina. So just keep that in mind if you do a lot of flying or a lot of traveling for work or for leisure. If you just love traveling and you know that you're going to be heading to a major airport, then you may just want to keep that in the back of your mind. All right, we're finally to the very last reason, number 9. I'm sure there are more reasons that people leave Augusta, Georgia, but this is the last one that I could think of. So we're going to do a music on these chimes. So number 9, why are people leaving Augusta, Georgia? Because of the homeless problem that we have. Honestly, it's been a huge concern. We've had a lot more people in our area that are struggling with homelessness, and it's honestly heartbreaking. I know that one of the ministries that is working to help them is the Under the Bridge Ministries, and they go and they talk to them and they try and help them. And it's just become more prevalent to see people panhandling at different places around town. And I'm not saying that it's not in other parts of the Augusta area, because it absolutely is. I've seen it in Martinez, I've seen it in Augusta, and I've seen it in Grovetown, I believe. So it's really sad, and I wish that we could have some additional programs that could help people with this issue. And but for some people that scares them, and they, you know, homelessness sometimes can translate into crime and into drugs and into other things. So it's just really heartbreaking to see, but we do have a homeless population in our area that has grown, especially since 2020, COVID, unfortunately. So there we are, the very last reason. I hope you guys have enjoyed my list of reasons people are leaving the Augusta area, or Augusta, Georgia specifically. And if you can think of other reasons why, if you live here in Augusta and you can think of other reasons why someone might want to leave the Augusta, Georgia area, then feel free to comment on this video so I can see, because I'm sure eventually I'll make another video like this, and I like doing fresh content with some different things added into it. I'm Geraldine De Laurentiis. I'm a realtor here locally in the Augusta area, and if you're considering moving to the Augusta area, I hope that you will reach out to me, reach out to my team, the Front Gate Group. We love hearing from you guys, even if you just have super preliminary questions, and you may not even move here, totally cool. We still like hearing from you guys. So text us, call us, email us. Day or night, we've got your back when moving to Augusta, Georgia.